It's scary because I had no idea what I'm doing. What do I send in an email to a coach that's different than every other athlete who's ever sent one? Hey, I'm Jaidin. I could bench 3 million. No, I can't.
3 million what? Dude, I want to know.
Dude,
now.
I don't know. And it's like I
feathers?
don't know what to say. Like, what do I send? Like, what do I do? What do I do for a highlight video?
All right, so what did you do? Jaidin Russell, dude. Welcome to the show. Tallest podcast on earth, dude.
Absolute fucking pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Okay, for those of you who there's probably a lot of people who don't know who you are.
Probably.
Can you just explain a little bit your situation? Like, why are you out here? How old are you? Who are you? What's going on?
Dude, absolutely. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves? Come on. My name is Jaidin Russell. I'm 19. I'm taking a gap year currently before I go play Division I volleyball at UCLA. A little bit about me. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, so all the way on the East Coast, a little cold weather. Beautiful out there, though. Recommend you go out sometime.
Wait, how? Okay, because you're in Poland now, and I have to say, like, I thought it was, first of all, I didn't even know it was possible that you're allowed to, like, take a year off before going to college and still got recruited. Like, how does that even work?
Dude, it's awesome. So before I even started volleyball, the beginning of my freshman year, my dad made a little bit of a family decision, and he said that we had to take a gap year before we went to college, or else he wouldn't pay for that first year, because he wanted us to travel, to gain experience, and to mature before going to college. So that's even before I started playing volleyball. So I was a baller. I'm basketball all the way up until high school. And my older brother, who's a year and a half older, which was 2 grades, he started playing volleyball in the spring because he had nothing to do. I was like, I was in basketball, but I wasn't really in it. And so I decided to go and try out for the volleyball team and play with my older brother, which was awesome.
Wait, so when did you start playing volleyball then?
I started playing volleyball the spring of my freshman year of high school.
So you're like 14, 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Describe to me too, because I just found it also really interesting. You kind of talking about the community of volleyball in Boston. We'll give you Boston, even though I know technically you're not from Boston. So how dare you? But like, okay, we'll give it to you.
Right outside of Boston. Come on.
How far outside though?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes outside of Boston.
All right. Is that considered Boston? I don't know. Are you allowed to do that?
It's not considered Boston, but for everybody who doesn't know, it's Boston.
No one gives a shit. Where are you really from?
Newton, Massachusetts.
Newton, Massachusetts. Okay. So what is the volleyball culture in Boston or in Newton, Massachusetts?
So there is actually a pretty substantial volleyball community. There's plenty of places to play, especially now. There's a couple indoor beach courts that opened up. Since Boston can get cold, it can get hot, it can get whatever. So there's beach courts. There's a huge 9-man community.
I don't know anything about 9-man volleyball. I know there's this one dude on Instagram, like Coach Donnie or something, who always posts, it looks like an Asian-only 9-man, like huge tournament.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that it is very primarily Asian. And I think what I heard was that, Asian these teams can have like one non-Asian player, and then the rest of it it's like a straight Asian thing.
So have you played in any of these tournaments?
I've never played, no, but I've seen a couple of them, and I have some teammates on my club team who went to play 9-man too.
Okay, so there's 9-man volleyball, there's beach volleyball, but like talk to me a little bit, like what's the club scene like? Because I mean, I grew up in California, so for me it was like there was beach courts. Even I didn't live on the beach, I was like 30 minutes away, but Santa Cruz was like over the hill.
Yeah,
there was a big beach volleyball community there. Indoor, I had big clubs, Beta Bay, like there was so much going on. I felt like for volleyball, and I always had a couple friends who played, and we'd go different places. But I'm really interested to know from you, like, do you have that same type of community? Like for me, I went to church open gyms, and played with like 13-year-old girls and like 60-year-old men. Like I played with literally everyone under the sun. And I get kids who message me all the time where they're like, oh, what do you do? How do you get better if there's no one in your community who like plays volleyball? And so I'm interested to know from you, like, did you feel like you had a community that there was volleyball everywhere and it was so easy to find games, or did you have to like work to find ways to play?
My personal experience, it was a challenge. Finding volleyball, you could go 40 minutes away to find like a game. You could go, on the weekends during the summer, there's always grass and beach going on. But in terms of like that huge community thing, from my view, is non-existent.
And do you speak on behalf of is Boston the Midwest? Do you consider Boston?
The Midwest?
Or the
Northeast.
East Coast? East Coast, though? Is it considered East Coast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I speak for most of the East Coast. I think New York has some good teams. Each state may have a good team, but at least for Boston, for Massachusetts, volleyball it's not very accessible. You can find maybe a church league or like, the 60 and up league, but especially for me, I'm going to UCLA, I'm going to play high level volleyball. It feels nearly impossible to find something on that level consistently.
Yeah. So what did you do? Like I'm guessing you had a high school team. So you played in high school.
Yeah.
And then you played club. Do you have a club team?
Yeah. So I had a club team, and I have to say I'm very, very fortunate. My club team happened to have a ton of really, really talented athletes and players on that team specifically. The club in general, it can vary from year to year, like most do. But there was a very steep drop before and after my year. So I had a very good time playing club. I wish there was a little bit more. But during high school season, that's where it was really a struggle for me and my friends, my teammates, the other players who were taking it very seriously.
And a struggle in what way do you mean?
The struggle in which you could go from a player like me on the high school team, I'm totally in it, going to the gym, staying out, if I'm staying after practice, I'm going to play on the weekends, taking all of my time to play, all the way down to literally the sixth man on the team who is playing for fun or because they have nothing to do or basically doesn't care very much about the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I also had that in high school. I felt like maybe a couple kids who played club, but for the most part, it was just like my friends and like some, our setter was our soccer goalie, that kind of thing. Okay, so you're playing like, and when you first start playing, were you the kid that like you just got hooked right away? Like you just started playing, was like, this is all I want to do.
Yes.
And then you're the kid like peppering on his house and like what was that like just trying to learn volleyball?
Of course. Yeah. So at the beginning, I was that kid. I was playing for fun. Because my older brother was on the team. I had never heard of volleyball before then. But, this is my older brother we're talking about, the guy that I'm fighting with constantly, the guy I love the most. So I joined the team. I joined him, his friends, his boys. That set the tone for me. Like, I think volleyball is the community aspect of volleyball is so, so important. And to have my older brother on the team makes that community aspect that much better.
So he was inviting for you to play volleyball.
Yes.
Like he was down.
Yeah, he was like, come play on the team, come try out. Like you'll at least make JV. You're tall, you're athletic. That's what JV's looking for, not skill, just athleticism. And then that freshman year, I moved up from JV to the varsity team. So as a freshman.
And you started out playing opposite?
Opposite, yeah. So JV, they just put me at middle because I can jump high. It's the easiest to say. JV, it's not really skill.
We all know that feeling.
Yeah, but then on the varsity team, there was an opening on the right side. And again, that was sort of the position. It's like you can jump high. If you can make contact with the ball, you can hit hard. Like, just go. And so my brother was on the team. He was a junior. And so he was getting like 20 kills a game. Just
playing against like nobodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel that.
But it was like I just can't explain the feeling of being able to be on the court watching my older brother be the guy. 20 kills a game, blocks, serves.
Well, what was your feeling?
Dude, I felt like a front row seat to the Olympics watching my older brother like just be such a dominant athlete on the court. And so that sets the tone for me, because my little brother experience was I'm going to be better than my older brother. I want to beat my older brother.
And you just one older brother, or you have multiple?
Just one. Yeah. One older brother, one younger sister.
I'm a younger brother, dude. What up?
Dude, it's good. And so, again, like I would get set, and I'm serious, twice a game. Not a set, a game. I would get set twice a game as a starting right side. So, again, I didn't know I had, I'm a right side. No defense. So I basically was sitting there watching the rest of the team kind of play while I'm standing around the right side doing my job.
Like, what was that like for you? Like, was it intimidating being in a situation where you're like, whoa, everyone's way better than me? Or did you just feel like, oh, it's all good? Like, were you just so hungry to learn that you didn't care about how bad you were? Or
yeah, so the first time I stepped on the court is the same as I would assume most people. It was frightening. I stepped on the court, I'd gone through practice, gone through rotations, gone through all that stuff. Stepped on the court, had no idea what to do. Every single play, I was asking my brother, my teammates, where do I set up? What am I doing again? And that's part of why I had such a good experience, because each time they would tell me, like, don't worry, you're setting up in the back row, and then you're gonna go play right side. You're gonna go hit in the front row. And
I want to know, what was serving like for you when you first started?
I didn't serve.
You didn't serve?
Dude,
what do you mean you didn't serve?
I didn't
you have to
serve.
serve.
No, I didn't play back row. I was strictly front row.
Wow.
Strictly
so they subbed you out
front row.
every time you were supposed to go
Every
back row?
single time. And I was so happy, because my defense was like playing like blindfolded. I was like,
yeah. And are you how many subs do people get? I don't even know professionally. How many subs do we get?
oh my God. I think
6?
it was like professionally, I think it's 6. But in high school, it was like 14 or 16.
Oh, wow.
Like you get a
Every
lot of
point,
subs.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, because actually it's funny, because I was talking with some of the guys here, and they were like, yeah, I heard about this thing called like a DS.
Dude,
and I saw liberos serving, and I was like, oh yeah, because we're when we're playing, normally we have no control, so we have like the control players who serve and play defense, and then the offense.
Can I just say something? Thank God they haven't brought in the rule that they have for women. Or wait, have they? Can liberos serve for men?
I have I don't know about professional, but
I'm almost positive they can't professionally. But can they in club tournaments?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, liberos can. They can
liberos
serve?
can serve. Yeah.
What is going on, dude? That makes me so mad. I'm so mad, dude. Dude, I'm so mad. I should have known better. One of the kids I work with, that's right. He gets subbed out. That's so frustrating. That's going to be so frustrating, dude. I don't have a vendetta against liberos, by the way. I know a lot of people think I do. But that makes me mad, because I feel like that's, at least I can imagine, like, okay, in your situation, you got subbed out. But for most of the time, it's middles, because middles don't have a good serve. So most middles are getting subbed out by the libero to serve. Not cool. Also, that makes me think, dude, I am really interested to know, like, what is club tournament vibe like now? Because I'm interested to see it. Like, I remember what it was like for me. It was like if I can put myself back there, I remember listening to like No Ceilings, Lil Wayne, with like all my boys. We would share like headphones, me and this guy Brian Cook specifically, and just go off. I remember eating like turkey sandos in between games, playing like 5 games a day. My team that we had was also pretty baller, so we had like a solid squad. But I'm really interested to know, like, what's the vibe like at tournaments right now?
In my opinion, the vibe at tournaments is it's one of those like unmatched feelings. You walk into that convention center, you can hear the crowd from outside the doors, and then you walk into those doors, especially as a player, feeling like you're on top of the world, like you're walking into like the NBA finals. Some have their headphones on, some all walk as a team, talking, doing whatever. But there's, I don't know, tens to sometimes like 100 courts, and you can just hear volleyballs banging on the ground, whistles screeching. Sometimes you don't even know if the whistle's yours or not, and you just playing through or somebody's stopping. The vibe is unmatched.
I'm so happy I get to have you on here, dude, because I have so many thoughts. Like, I also wonder, like, when I was playing, it was just like something I loved so much as a kid, and it was never like competitive in this, or I didn't like dream of playing professionally or really even in college until really late. I'm curious if like the younger generation thinks more about the idea of volleyball being a career or being a professional or being like a star at a, like, do they look up to Division I players? Like, what is it like, the mindset of like club player now entering college?
That's a great question. I think professionally, it's not in most people's minds, since it's not very big in America. Professional volleyball, it's kind of out of sight. But college volleyball, that's where it goes crazy. In my view, I've always wanted to play professional sports. So I started playing volleyball. My goal from junior club is to go play in college and to go play professionally. I know that's not the case for everyone, and especially, a lot of kids think they're too short. They think they don't jump high enough. They think this and that, and maybe they're doubting themselves. But at least for me,
at least for Jaidin, the guy who jumps really well and is super tall.
Dude, I just love athletics. That feeling of jumping through the air, that's amazing for me. I went through an injury we can get into later, but I went through an injury this past summer, and I was, it sucked. It was 3 months. I was 3 months out, and then I jumped for the first time, and I was like, it just puts a smile on my face. The jumping, the swinging, the defense, the just being active.
So my just to get back to like tournaments, I really do want to know like how competitive. It's so funny, man. The more I've evolved in the game, and now looking back at like how much club kids like freak out if someone bounces. I think we talked about this before in the car once.
Yeah.
Like a kid bounces a ball and he's just like losing his mind, and he's like staring across the net and like doing all sorts of shit, and like and I was like, I don't. Now as an older player, I'm just like, the coolest thing to me is to just absolutely nuke a ball and act like you don't give a shit. But when I see these videos, and I just recently, like, my mom converted some of like my old club footage to DVD, and I saw it for the first time, I was losing my shit. I posted something on Instagram, like losing it, doing huge circles, like, and a part of me, like, it was almost like an ego check of like, dude, don't lose that, dude. Like, there is something so cool and unique about volleyball, and specifically about celebrations, because there's so much time in between each play.
Yeah.
But like kids getting hyped up, where are we at with that now?
Oh, it's hype. It's hype because, not everybody's bouncing. We're not all professional players. So when you get a great pass, a great set, and then you have the opportunity to crush it, we're junior players. I'd say probably like half of us miss that opportunity. Whiffs off the wrist, off the side of the hand. But if you get that bounce,
it's a sacred thing.
Oh my God, it's a slam dunk. It's that. And then blocks are the same. You get a big block. It depends on who you're blocking too. We play against other Division I commits, other great players. Maybe the best outside on the team is faced up against the best right side on the team.
And you guys know, like, who you're playing.
There's dudes that I hate because I don't know them at all, and I hate them to the core just because of what they're doing, who they are. Maybe it's the best on there's this one team from Florida who...
What's the name? Do you know the name?
Yeah.
Little Joey, what do they call him? What's his name? Say his name. No, you don't have to say it.
I'll just say the team. It was Winter Park.
Okay.
Winter Park volleyball team. This right side. I'm kind of putting him on now, but he's good. That's why I hate him, because he's good. But he had this little attitude about him, like he knew he was good. And every time I saw him, all I thought was like, I want to block the fucking shit out of you. I hate you so much. I want to destroy your career right now.
Yeah.
And, it's tough. We're right side, so we very rarely got that opportunity.
Right side battle, baby.
Of course. But I knew when we were playing, every touch I got, I was like, yeah, I'm better than you. Fuck you. I'd never met him before. But it's just that energy from club volleyball. It's like we have people we hate, people we love, people who, celebrated a bit too much, people who didn't celebrate at all. And then let's put it this way, dude.
Emotions are flying.
Oh, yes.
At that age especially, like, I could totally understand. And I remember, playing against, I grew up in the generation of, like, Taylor Sander. There was just some, like, even, like Outrigger Hawaii always had a really good team. I just remember constantly, like, Jace Olsen. There were just so many, like, for me, it was also, like, NorCal, SoCal battle. Like, I don't know. Do you have, like, oh, we fucking hate New York because they're so close to us? Like, you get any bad blood in the water?
I mean, I have bad blood with that one team from Florida. But, again, from being from Boston, like, we're so far removed from most of the highest level volleyball. For me, I'm going to play Division I, so I was always focused on those kids. But then, there's teams around Boston's from Connecticut, from New York, from wherever, that didn't really match up to us well. We didn't have, like, a rival. But we had, there's teams like this Winter Park team that I would consider our rival, but we only played them, maybe once or twice. We didn't get that real rivalry.
And I'm really interested to know also, how do you manage your emotions? Like, what are you thinking when you walk into a tournament, especially like before you got recruited? Did you have a little feeling of like, oh, I need to prove something, because you come from an area where maybe it's like people aren't digging through Newton?
Yeah,
people aren't digging through freaking Big Newton, to find that treasure. So you got to put yourself out there a little more. Whereas, like, if you're from OCVC or Bay to Bay or some of these bigger clubs, I can imagine as a college recruit, you're looking more toward these bigger clubs. Like, what was that like? Did you ever feel like you had to prove something extra? Were you just playing, you just all blindsided, didn't give a shit? Like, what was your mindset like?
So, there's a lot I want to say there. In terms of emotions, it was letting all of that positivity out. You get a good spike, you get a bounce, a 10-foot line, like, you're going crazy. But it was figuring out, like, we all have that moment where our team is just sucks. Like, we're all good, like, our libero's not passing, our outsides aren't hitting, our middles aren't blocking. We all have those games. So for me, it was managing, like, how do I remove myself from maybe a teammate who's struggling and focusing on making sure that I'm at least doing my job. And for me, it was, I wanted to make sure that I was the energy on the team. Because energy is a big thing, especially in, like, junior volleyball. Teams always talk about it. It's like, we had a bad game. It's like, oh, our energy was down. We need to figure out a way to pick it up. We need to be, energetic. Even though we miss a play, we need to be energetic. But I thought we had a really, really bad tournament where our energy was down, but we were just playing really poorly. And I thought to myself that the energy can't start from them. It has to start from me. So that's what I did. Every time I scored a play, like, I'm going crazy. Even if I look weird, I look weird while my whole team's, maybe sulking or doing something. I'm maybe off on my own or trying to get the team in. It's like, listen, like, we need this, and I will gladly be the one to start it if I can, even if it's not me getting the kill. That was a big thing for me. It was supporting my teammates, not just myself. So to get a big kill, dude, I'm celebrating more than they are. I want to be that guy.
What's your go-to celebration? Like, what do you go to?
Oh, man.
I could see you being like a flexi guy.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I saw you dunk a couple times, and then I zoom in the camera on you, and you go like this, and I was like, oh, that's his power stance right there.
Dude, yeah. It depends. So for myself, whenever I would get a cool play, I would try to play it cool, like yeah, I just did that. That's me. I'm him. But then when somebody else would do it, dude, I'm like the biggest energy in the room. And so going back to that, being from Newton, coaches aren't looking there. That's that's how my recruitment story went. You know, we're a small team from a place that doesn't have good volleyball, and you know, coaches are not looking for smash volleyball out of Newton, Massachusetts. They're looking at who's Beta Bay playing. Oh, that team who just, you know, took a set from 3-5-2 is doing well. Like, they're looking at those games. So my 17's year was the year right out of COVID when things just started opening up. So we got to the, you know, USAV Nationals, but we couldn't play in a bid tournament that year. So we went to the club division, which is the lowest. And D1 coaches are not looking there. But I decided, even if I'm playing in something like club, like, the best thing I could do is just ball out.
So take me now to now you get recruited.
Okay.
What was that process like? Did they knock on your door and award you with a giant scholarship check? Did they, like, how did you get seen? How did that conversation start?
I'm so happy to tell this story. So first it started at Nationals. So end of junior year was when I started recruitment. So a couple coaches, you know, they heard the ball bouncing. They heard my yelling, my roars, my teammates, my, you know, our energy.
Coming.
They heard it. Yeah.
They heard you coming.
Exactly. And so at that point, you know, there were coaches around like they normally are, but there were like D1 coaches surrounding our court at 17's club level. And I literally looked behind me and I saw the Princeton coach, the Penn State coach, and then there was another one. I think it was the Farley Dickinson coach. They're all tall guys. So I turn around and go, like, looking at those dudes, like, watching our games.
Knowing they're watching.
Dude, and I was like, oh, man. But I thought to myself, I'm like, now's the time where I could either totally let it get in my head and focus on them, or I focus on the game. It's like I had to focus on the game. There was no other option. You know, I was thinking about those coaches, but I had to focus on the game. So after that, I was getting some emails, approached by some coaches. But honestly, my recruitment wasn't really moving anywhere. You know, I started talking to coaches and I was having good conversations, but it wasn't like, it didn't really feel like it was moving to getting an offer. So I had my best conversations were with Pepperdine, and I had gone out to California for a
official visit.
No, not an official visit.
Unofficial visit.
Unofficial, okay. Just like school tour. And I told the coach, like, hey, I'm here. You know, I'd love to say hi. And so I did, and we had like a really great conversation. It was really good to talk to him. David Hunt, great guy.
Yeah, good.
Love him.
Yeah.
And then he invited me to watch practice. And then I was like, oh, is this an official visit? Awesome. You know, let's go. And then, you know, I spent some time with him, met some guys on the team, and it was awesome. But again, it was really slow. I felt like it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
So then now you're getting recruited to UCLA. Like, what,
all
just
right,
happened
so
to be in the neighborhood, or what?
Here's this dope-ass story. So a month before this, I talked to the Pepperdine coach, and he tells me, like, listen, you know, we can offer you a spot, but you're going to have to pay full tuition to Pepperdine University in Malibu, which is like $80K.
$80K a year?
$80K. And then I have an older brother and younger sister, and all three of us will be in university at the same time. So I was talking to him, and I was like, you know,
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Like, you know, is there a scholarship opportunity? Like, I low key, I need it. And he's like, no. There might be one if you want to go to junior college for 2 years, which would lose me a year of eligibility, and then try again. And I was like, there's no way. So I went about a month of, not depression, but I was just really upset. You know, all of this talking for months on end had led up to...
Were they the only other school then, Pepperdine?
That I was seriously considering at the time.
And what was your mindset? Were you like, I for sure am someone who's going to go play Division I?
Yeah.
Or were you like, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I thought to myself, like, I didn't, you know, it wasn't like a straight path, like, this is how I'm going to get there.
And did you start, like, sending emails?
Yeah.
Or so you're the one reaching out to them being like, yo, what the fuck is good? I'm Jaidin.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I'm Jaidin. Like, I'm going to be playing in Chicago this week. Like, I'll send you all of my tournament info. I hope you can watch. And I got some responses, but again, they were kind of like yeah, go ahead, bud.
So,
like, sure.
I mean, just for like, I don't know how many kids listen to this podcast. Honestly, it's more of an adult podcast, you know? But I want to know also, like, because that's a really proactive thing to do. And I think, you know, a lot of kids that I talk to, they seem like a little shy. Some of them, like afraid to make that step, or afraid to do that, or feel maybe in some way that like, well, if they want me, they should be at the tournament. They should be seeing
it's
me.
hard. It's hard. Like at tournaments, it's easy. You know, you just, well, it's not easy, but you ball out, you make noise, you attract attention, and that's how you get the attention. But outside of that, I sent emails to UCLA every time I would play and never, ever got a response. It's scary because I had no idea what I'm doing. What do I send in an email to a coach that's different than every other athlete who's ever sent one? What do I say? Like, hey, I'm Jaidin. You
send him a couple headshots.
Like, yeah, hey, I'm Jaidin. Like, you know, I could bench 3 million. You know, no, I can't.
3 million what? I want to know.
Dude,
now.
I don't know. And it's like,
feathers?
I don't know what to say. Like, what do I send? Like, what do I do? What do I do for a highlight video?
All right, so what did you do?
So I worked through it. I had like a D3 coach that I was friends with. He was my club coach, and so I worked with him a lot. But it was hard to like keep asking questions like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? And sometimes they don't even have the answer. You know, so again,
wait, so what did you do? Did you make a highlight tape?
Yes, like I did.
Okay, so you sent these colleges.
So I sent these colleges emails before I would play, after I would play. I made a highlight video from each tournament that I played in, and then sent it out again to the ones that I was actually talking with. You know, I would keep them updated. And for me, I knew the best thing I could do was just keep talking to them. So like for David Hunt, for example, I'd text him. I'd say like, hey, I hope you're having a great day. You know, I had a really, really good practice, and I've got some really cool highlight video coming up. I can't wait to send it to you. And he would actually respond, which is so cool.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so again, like my biggest recommendation is like, you just keep sending stuff. Even if you don't know, the best thing you could do when you don't know is just keep sending stuff, keep reaching out, and be very friendly to these coaches, because they can see you once and then forget.
Man, that's so cool that you're able to like just take the initiative like that, because I don't know if I could have done that.
Dude, it's thanks to my mom. My mom was like, you're going, like, she's my biggest supporter. She's basically my manager. She's like, you're going D1. And I'm like, all right, cool. And so maybe there would be a week where I don't do anything, and she's like, Jay, like, what's going on? Where are you right now? Have you made your highlight video? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm working on it. And she's like, Jay, make your fucking highlight video. Like, do this. If you want it, go fucking get it. But go and get it. And so I did. So, but here's where it gets interesting. None of that really helped me get recruited to UCLA. The way I got recruited to UCLA starts like this. I have a free weekend. My club season has just ended. It's in between club and high school, and so I have nothing to do. But my younger sister plays volleyball, and she had a tournament in Rhode Island. It was kind of one of those, like, not nothing tournaments, but it wasn't a big tournament. It wasn't big. It was like for local teams and the local girls teams to just play against each other. And I decided it was like an hour and a half drive. And I was like, well, I guess I don't have anything to do, so I'll go see her, go watch her games, and go support. So for the first 2 days, I went there. I hung out with my friends, the girls that I know, anybody else who was watching. And then the third day, I'm sitting on the end line watching my sister's game. This is Rhode Island. It's like kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I make eye contact with this guy. So I'm sitting there watching my sister's game, and I go like this. This dude looks at me, and I'm like, I see on his shirt, it says it's some D3 college. And I'm like, I don't really want to talk to him right now. Like, I just want to watch my sister's game and like chill out. But then he gets up and walks over and sits next to me. And I was like, hey, you know, I put on my charming, friendly self. I'm like, hey, you know, what's going on? My name's Jaidin. It's nice to meet you. And I start talking to him about college, and I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in Pepperdine and San Diego and all those California schools. I've always wanted to go to California, and volleyball's huge out there. His name's Derek Schmidt. Huge shout out. Amazing guy. And so I'm talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I've seen some of your video. You know, you look really strong. Like, you know, I used to coach in, I think, Calabasas. Is that part of California? Calabasas?
Yeah, it is.
Something like that?
Calabasas it is.
Calabasas. With John Hawks, the assistant coach of UCLA. I can send him some of your huddle highlights if you want me to. Dude, what? This random, what was to me random D3 coach that I met at my sister's tournament is saying that he can send my videos to the assistant coach of UCLA. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to say it's because I'm amazing, but he may have just been in a good mood. You know, he's seen me play in terms of Boston and Massachusetts and New England in general. My team and myself are pretty big, pretty popular in that area. And so I say to him, I'm like, well, yeah, you know, I'm making a highlight video, you know, I'll send it to you when I'm ready. He's like, what about this one? And he points to one of my high school games. And I was like, oh no, because this is high school, you know, it's kind of messy. It's like,
Yeah. You want that clean footage.
But that game specifically, I played right side because I was playing middle for high school just because I could.
Because you wanted to.
Because I wanted to.
Really, we all want to.
Yeah.
We can't all, but we all want to.
Of course, yeah. And that game, I had 30 kills. And I was like, well, all right.
Send it.
All right. Yeah, I think you can send that.
And from that video. He sent that video to John Sprout or John Hawks?
John Hawks, the assistant coach. 2 days later, it's, I think, a Tuesday. I'm in school, and I get a email on my phone from John Hawks. And I'm like, dude, you're kidding me.
What did it say?
You're kidding
Tell me what it said.
It was like, hello, this is John Hawks. I'm the assistant coach of UCLA, and then it put all the national wins. Like, I got your huddle highlight, and I'm very interested in talking to you as a player. You know, I have some free time in about 2 hours, so I'd love to hop on the phone and chat.
So you get on the phone.
So I leave school in the middle of the day. Sick. I just walk out. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this right now. I need to go get ready.
Hell yeah.
I look up everything I can about UCLA. I look up pictures, the team, the coaches' names. Dude, I do more research than I've ever done for a school project in like 30 minutes. And then I get on the phone and we talk for an hour and a half about UCLA, about volleyball, about myself.
I feel like the conversation should have went like this. Jaidin, are you interested in UCLA? And you say, yup.
Dude,
Next question.
But that's the thing. He doesn't know who I am. He has no idea who I am. I was referred to him by another coach.
You hit him with the human highlights.
Yeah, dude. I was like, exactly. I hit him with the human highlights. I'm like, dude, like, this is my dream. This is my passion. Like, I've always wanted to play. Ever since I started, like, I've always wanted to play. And like UCLA, I told him, I was like, dude, it felt out of reach for a long time. You know, I was looking at UCLA and I was like, oh, it would be cool, but it's very unrealistic. And we just like kick it off. We just have an amazing conversation for an hour and a half, just continuously talking about, you know, myself, himself. You know, I make sure that it's not, you know, I make sure I'm a good person first. Yeah, I could be a great athlete, but especially when I'm selling myself, like, I ask him questions, you know, like, how are you? How's your family? You know, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, I want to know. I want to develop a personal connection. So that way.
Great strategy.
Oh, it's a great strategy. I promise. That's what I tell everybody I can. I'm like, dude, play the person, not the school.
You also seem like a really genuine kid to me, in my opinion.
I appreciate
genuine
that.
Dude,
yeah, I try to be. And after that conversation, he's like, you know, Jaidin, I really love talking to you. Let's get you on a call with John Sprout. And I'm like, yeah, of course. You know, I'd really, really love that. That would be really cool. And he's like, all right, Jaidin, it's great to talk to you. You know, I'll text you soon. And I'll be like, thank you, coach. It was a pleasure. You know, we'll talk soon. I get off the phone. I don't know if I punch something, if I'm throwing shit. I am going like crazy. Dude, this is my dream. Going to UCLA is is my number one. Like
I just pictured like breaks into like some sort of musical, like theme music, and you start.
That's what I did.
Running through the school.
Dude, I have this speaker, this giant like party speaker that I turn all the way up with my like favorite song. I get the big speaker, loud as hell, probably too loud, and I play Rockstar Nights by Trippie Redd and Kid Cudi, which is my favorite song at the time.
I actually don't know. I probably know it, but give me a little something. What is it?
Oh shit! It's like Rockstar Nights, dim the lights, baby. I don't wanna do this. Rockstar, come on. Fuck the song. I ain't worried about nobody. I'm ruthless.
Shit, I don't know it, but anyway.
It's okay. I'll put you on. I'll put you on. Favorite song of the time, dude. I am jamming. I call my mom. I'm like, you won't believe what just happened. I literally tell her, I'm like, you won't believe this. And mom, again, I told you, my mom's my cheerleader, my manager, dude. So I call my mom and I tell her the news. She works in the hospital, Mass General. She's screaming. She's like, I can't fucking believe this.
And so what happens now? Like, take me to like you're getting.
Yeah. So I talked to John Speraw, and that's like, dude, he's the guy, right? He's the guy in U.S. volleyball. So I talked to him for 10 minutes, which I'm glad it was only 10 minutes because I was scared shitless talking to him.
He's intimidating. I think he can be intimidating.
He is. But then he's like, all right, Jaidin, we love your stuff and we want to get you out here. I haven't talked to these guys in person. They haven't come see me play. And he's already giving me an official offer or an official visit. And I'm like, yeah.
So what's your official visit like?
My official visit is baller, dude.
Just raging with everyone. What was it like?
Dude, my official visit, I get there, hang out with the coaches a little bit, learn a little stuff. And then I have like my chaperone, which is one of the freshmen on the team, Matthew Edwards. I love that guy. And dude, I have like maybe the best day ever. It's right before the crosstown rivalry, USC versus UCLA. So that's the next day. So today we're walking around. We're going to the yard, playing a little beach volleyball, eating some good food. But what happened was I didn't stay with him the whole day. I would basically jump from group to group, little teammate to teammate, and just hang out with almost everyone on the team. And so it wasn't like, I just met a couple guys and then I met the team a couple times. I lived like a day in the life with the team.
Yeah. And you were sold.
I was sold as soon as I got the offer. But yes, I was sold on the school aspect even more. I was like, this is the place for me. So then the next day comes, which is game day. I hang out with the team. I watch them practice, talk with them. And then the coaches are like, hey, why don't you, come to our office and talk with us before the game. And I'm like, all right, cool. So me and my mom go. And it's John Hawks and John Speraw talking to me and my mom. And he gives me the rundown. He's like, listen, to be a college athlete, there's three aspects of your life. There's the social, the academic, and the athletic. But you can only choose two. That was his line, which was baller. And I was like, dude, that's not even a question for me. Like, you're asking the wrong guy. I'll never talk to another soul if it means that I'm going to the school and I'm playing on the team.
That's a really interesting line because I don't like that at all, to be honest.
It's not entirely true because you'll have a social life.
And I also think it's so important to learn how to balance. Like, if there's any advice I would give as someone who went through 5 years of college, and I'm maybe not the best person, but like, it's what I couldn't balance, like having a social life, doing academics and volleyball. I thought I had all three really well figured out. And I just think, I don't know. I feel like this idea of like, having to choose two things, it's like, that's actually crazy. It's like all of life.
Yeah.
And this is being a professional now. Now it's choose one and it's playing volleyball in Poland or whatever, and like, not to shit on John Hawks. He's an amazing guy. I do love him and we've had crazy stories together, but I find that was just an interesting thing. That's an interesting thing for someone to say. Even though, like, for you, you're like, hell yeah, I don't need a social life.
I don't.
Yeah.
Like, my team, in the scope of the question, like, my team will be my social life. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I know that it's not entirely true. Like, you need a social life, you need, balance. But at the same time, if I were to give one up, like, I choose my academics and my athletics, because that's what I'm here for. So then he goes into detail, like, all right, so this is what commitment will look like. And it's kind of like a little vague, because I don't know if he's offering me or not. And so I'm like, oh yeah, so what does verbal commitment look like? Because I've heard of that before, but I don't know what it is. And he's like, oh yeah, so
Just say you want to commit.
just say, whenever you want, I want to be a Bruin, and you're in. For some sports, you can back out, but for volleyball, like, if you verbally commit, like, you're basically in. Like, we'll put you in the system. We'll mark down that spot for you. And so I turn, I look at my mom, and she doesn't move an inch, but I get it. I look into her eyes and I get it. And I turn and I go, I want to be a Bruin, on the spot, middle of the day, just commit. And it is a party in that office. The four of us, we're just having a great time, take a couple pictures, and just have a great moment. So then we go and we watch the crosstown rivalry at home in the Poly Pavilion. Five set match with UCLA clutching up just right at the end. It's a great game to watch, like the game to watch. Go into the locker room with the team, kind of standing off to the side a little bit while coach is giving his rundown. And I have a video of this because it's awesome. And he goes, he finishes up his speech and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Jaidin's a Bruin. And the whole team, after a 5-set match, gets up, is super excited. It is the moment every recruit dreams of, right? The whole team gets up. It's exciting. We're doing chants, stuff that I don't even know. I'm kind of just sitting there like,
just so hyped.
Yeah. And then it's party town from there.
Yeah.
The rest of the night is partying, jumping from one to the next. I think we went to like 3. But remember, I'm from Boston time, so it's 3 hours ahead. So it was, I think, 12 p.m. And they were like, all right, let's go out. But for me, it's 3 a.m. And I'm like,
you were like, I'm going to bed, bro.
Yeah, I think I'm going to call it here. And so I walk back to the hotel, have a good time, hang out with my mom, talk a little bit, and fall fast asleep. And then I'm on the plane that next morning.
Yeah. Did you, because you know what I noticed about you too here, like when you're in an environment like recruit trips too, there's a huge pressure to drink and to like be a part of that. And obviously you're underage and like, you can't legally do it. But the truth is, like, I mean, even on my recruit visits, like I was drinking, we were doing tons of shit, I was loving it. But something I loved about you is even when you were here, we all were, and here legally you can drink.
Yes.
But we all went to this cabin for my buddy who had a baby, and just your ability to be like, nah, like when you don't want anything to drink or don't need it, you're just like, nah. And I had the same conversation with Mason Briggs, and I find it so fascinating because I wasn't, right? I was the kid that was like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm trying to fucking make you guys lose your minds, you know?
For
like,
sure.
I can handle my shit, and I loved the community aspect of it, and it was an unhealthy balance, obviously, for me. But I always, when I look at someone like you, I'm like, damn, like I wish I would have had a little more of that in me,
Of course.
So I'm really interested to know, like, what's that pressure like for you, and like how do you see that, like how do you do so well to say no to that type of pressure?
It comes down to a lot of things. I mean, it's a lot of self-confidence to be able to say no and not join in on that stuff. But at the same time, like both of my parents are in medicine, and so growing up, cigarettes, weed, drinking, everything is always like, listen, like if you're gonna do it safely. Yeah. But I'd really like you not to. It wasn't like a no,
or more like,
and it wasn't
here's why it's not great for you.
Exactly. And so I grew up in a position where they encouraged me to make my own decision, even if they may know it's wrong, they may know it could benefit me, but they were like, listen, Jay, you have to make your own decision because this is what I want for you in the future. And so that's where I have the self-control I do now.
I think it's more just understanding yourself. And I
Yes.
think that's the part I think about now as an adult, now as like a more sober adult, the most like sober, normal version of myself I've ever
Yeah.
been. Let's say like it's something I actually work with a therapist and we're working on now, where it's like just slow down, you know? And sometimes for me, I'll be home, it's 7:00, there's nothing to do. And I'm like, well, I'd love to just like smoke weed and watch this movie right now.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to just enjoy, like slow down, like, okay, why do I feel like I need this extra thing? Or it's like if you're drinking, you have a couple drinks, and legally out here you can have a couple drinks. And then being like, I feel good. I don't feel like there's another, and most of the times trust me, with drugs, with everything, there's like a point of like, I feel so fucking good, I'm going to keep chasing feeling good. And then right away it goes to like shit town where nothing good happens. Or you're chasing that high that won't be there because you already had your peak, like a feeling good.
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of time. And it's something I've tried to work on now, is just like slowing down a little bit and being like, even with like caffeine and shit, where I'm like, I actually feel good this morning. We don't need to just drink coffee because, you know, we can like just enjoy feeling good. And if I feel tired, maybe I'll have some, or like if it's before training or whatever, you know, but like really starting to understand that I have all these habits, and now like breaking them down to just continue to better understand myself. And so I think it's so fucking cool that you're able to not give in to that pressure that is also like, it's hard, dude. It's hard. It's even hard. It's also really hard for me even now to be sober guy, to like go to a party like that and not just want to like absolutely lose it with everyone. Even for me, that's hard, just to have a beer or something. It was a huge learning curve. I'm still trying to get better at it. You're already way better at it than I am, you know, like I'm trying to get better at it now, you know, like just being okay, being like, I feel good. I'm having fun. I'm here. This is enough for me.
Yes.
And being cool with that. I find that it's so cool, man.
I think part of it that's really easy for me is that I am able to find the fun even when there isn't, you know, stuff like drinking and drugs and stuff like that. Like my family, you know, I grew up with an older brother and a younger sister, but we're all close in age. So it's chaos. You know, we're all tall, athletic people. Is chaos in the house. And I have a blast doing that. So, you know, when I've gone to parties where I'm not drinking, I've gone to, you know, events with adults and stuff like that. It's like finding a way to enjoy yourself outside of that, I think is the best way to get out of it. And so, you know, sometimes it's hard. Like drunk people aren't super fun to be around when you're not drunk. And so normally it's like a, you know, make an appearance and leave kind of thing with, you know, I haven't been around drugs, but there have been people who are high. It's just easy to make them laugh. Then I'm just telling jokes, and you know, I feel like the king of the world right now because everybody thinks I'm so funny. But again, it's finding a way to have fun outside of that, even having fun just by myself.
Okay, let's talk now about you're here in Poland. You took your gap year.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to UCLA. You get brought here. You arrived in February. So you've been here for the last 2 months. Give me your experience. I really want to know how we're doing.
So first of all, I decided that before I came here, I would keep a journal of my experience, because in case this comes up, I don't have every event, every feeling, but I've written them all down on my phone, and I don't know what I'll do with them. But the first week was awful. It was awful.
Describe that for me.
This is my first time living alone, and also my first time being out of the country. Like I've been to like, you know, vacation spots, but my first time really being out of the country, and first time in Europe. So I've heard stories about Poland. I have, you know, different friends, different relatives who have different opinions on Poland. I know it's not a bad place, but at the same time, I know it's very different from America. So I'm like, I don't know how to act. I don't know what to do. I don't know what not to do. So I decided to take the I'll just not do it approach. So the first week I was sad. I was hungry. I was so hungry because I was a picky eater before I got here, a very selective eater, like the Dino Nuggets, like every lunch kind of picky eater. No,
what
that's
the fuck are you talking about?
that's
picky
good.
eater, bro.
That's good. I'm not saying you're thinking of that like, oh, I love Dino Nuggets. I'm thinking of that like the only thing I can eat is Dino Nuggets.
You got the reverse.
Yes, exactly,
Whoa,
exactly.
dude.
It's different. You know, I love it, but
Yeah.
that's because there's only 3 things I eat.
You're a picky eater in the trenches.
Oh, dude, it's bad. And so I got here, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So the first day or two, coach or the manager or some guys, I think we went out once, and I went out to eat with you guys, and I was wolfing down food because I was like, I don't know when my next meal is gonna be. Like I need to be full. And so I would eat all of that, and then we would get like catering meals, or there would be something.
Eventually, you got the
something
catering.
to eat, yeah. But it just like, it forced me to eat other foods. I was not eating eggs. I was not eating peanut butter. I was not eating like sandwiches. I wasn't eating a lot of greens. It was like, I was like a carnivore. I would eat like chicken. And so now that I got here, like the first meal was like cheesy eggs and then like a salami sandwich. I looked at this and I'm like, I can't. My pride won't let me tell them that I can't eat this shit. So I literally was like, oh, it's great. Thanks.
Just hating it.
Not hating it, but
Wait,
I'm
so
like,
give me. What
so
do you?
I have.
No. Stop. What do you eat, dude? You said Dino Nuggets. Like you're telling me you couldn't go to Jabka and find some fucking Dino Nuggets in the freezer? They got like frozen pizzas.
But that's
and shit.
so. This is part of the experience. It's like I don't. Honestly, I didn't feel super comfortable, like going out. Going out. Yeah. For a multitude of reasons. In fact, my skin color being one of the last ones. The looks I get while I'm here range from the like, oh my God, like there's a black guy, to
oh my God, there's a tall black
like,
guy.
oh my God, there's a black guy, to like, hello stranger. Yeah. It's like, but I wasn't sure because I've heard all these stories, so I have this like are they super racist? Like, do they like, will they accept me? Like, can I find help? Like, I don't know. Yeah. And again,
I don't even know like what 911 is, bro.
I don't know.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, if this house caught on fire, if like someone broke into my house, like who the fuck do I call?
Dude, I was trying to avoid embarrassing shit so bad and trying not to be like that American. I walked into the supermarket. I walked around 5 times looking at everything to make sure like, okay, how do I leave? I literally walked around twice because I didn't know how to leave. And then I realized, like, to leave, you have to scan your receipt, and then it opens a gate. And because I was going to leave and not get anything. And I was like, oh, shit, there's a gate. And so I, like, walked around another couple times looking for something. Because I don't know this language, right? It's not even close. So I look at stuff, and I'm like, is that chicken? Like, I don't know, and I don't have
chicken. It's like, yeah, it's still got its feathers on too, bro.
But I also don't have. I live in the university in a dorm, so I don't have like pots and pans and stuff. I have like a couple plates, some cups.
Microwave? No microwave.
No microwave. But there's like a dorm kitchen, but it only has 2 ovens and like a stove. But I don't have anything to do it with. Yeah. So I walked around like a million times, and then I looked. I was like, frozen pizza, holy shit, like I've done it. And so I grabbed one. I grabbed some tomatoes because I'm a huge tomato guy.
Whoa,
crazy. And then scan and walk out. But I like, you have to understand, I feel like a child here. I'm like, I don't know, like, am I walking on the right side of the street? Like, what rules do I follow? Like, am I gonna get arrested? Like, I have no idea. I want to make sure that I'm not inconveniencing anybody from my lack of knowledge.
You want to be respectful ultimately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that actually created a couple problems internally, which was I tried to be so respectful that I ended up taking away from my own experience and also not finding the help. Like when I first got here, I wanted to text you every single day, like, hey Taylor, how do I cross the street? Like, hey Taylor, like, can I get a ride across the street? Like, I wanted to keep asking you guys, but at the same time, I knew like I do need to figure this out on my own.
Yeah.
Like I do need to learn.
It's a really interesting balance too, because it's so funny when I heard you were coming, I was like, oh, for sure this guy, I didn't know who you were, I was like, oh, for sure this guy's gonna want to hang out all the time. Like I'm doing stuff. I was like, how are we gonna do this? Because I also like, he's another American guy.
Yeah.
I just lost Josh, like Josh
Yeah,
is gone.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was like, oh, let's see. And then from day one of knowing you, I was like, oh, you seem like a pretty like eccentric kid, more or less,
Yes.
Like, you're definitely like first time in Poland, like you're training with the team, but not fully. You're like trying to figure out what is your role exactly. And I was also surprised you didn't text me more. I was like waiting for you to ask more questions or thoughts. And so that's really interesting to know actually. That
Well, another thing for you to know is that when I first got here, I was like, I don't know if he likes me. Like, I don't want to be that annoying kid who's like sticking to the other American. Like, it's funny because I've seen so many scenarios like this where you're in the position like, oh, there's a guy coming. Like, I want to hang out. But I'm in the position like, oh, there's another guy coming. I don't want to push him away.
Dude, this is a really interesting conversation because I also find this with pros, like American players, like I don't want to name seasons or names.
Yeah.
But like if you have another American player with you, you are in some way, you have this like kind of obligation to interact more.
Yeah.
And if the person who happens to be coming with you is not someone that you're like off the court trying to really kick it with, it can be, for me, I was like, let me do I like being alone. Like I like being
so do I.
lost. And like, I love going to places where it's like, I'm super the foreign guy.
Yeah.
And like I'm trying to figure it out. And like, I'm not forced or obligated to hang out with people. And so that's such an interesting dichotomy, I think, and I felt like with you, after I got to know you, I was like, oh, I want to extend myself more to hang out. And like even today I think we had a pretty good day. We went,
sure.
You're officially a part of the Frozen Packers.
Come on now.
Which is pretty sweet. We went in the cold water.
About time.
We built a fire. We watched a little anime. Like it's been great. And I love it, dude. I think you're such a cool kid. And
thank you.
That's just a really interesting subject because there is this strange like, oh, it's the other foreigner or like the other another American specifically, and you got to hang out all the time. And like personally, I'm like, I fucking hate that, dude.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point because I also really, really like my space. I can spend a day indoors watching Netflix, watching anime, watching, like the other day, I watched podcasts all day. Like I can totally do that. But especially being on this gap year, it's taught me like I can do that, but only for so long. So there were times, and I didn't know, like, during the week when we were practicing, like, oh, I want to give him his space, like, oh, I don't have a car. Like, I don't want to make him drive me there and back. And it's like I was trying to be considerate. But again, it's like I was considerate to the point where, I was creating a space that there didn't need to be. It's like, and so it's a choice. Like, do I want to be that annoying kid or do I not want to have like a great relationship? Or at least risk a great relationship by being
annoying. And it is also really interesting when like, I'm 12 years older than you maybe, like that's also really interesting too. And I could imagine like if I was in your shoes, I would have done the same thing. It's like, okay, I want food. Okay, I actually want to hang out like with this dude who's been playing professionally forever. Like there's so much I want to know. I have so many questions. But you also have enough self-awareness to know the situation to be like, but I also don't want to be that annoying kid who's then asking all these questions and needs all this help. And like, I think you handled it pretty well. And it with almost on my end, I'm like, I wish you would have sent me more messages. I wish you would have told me more like, hey, I'm feeling alone, or hey, I'm watching pod. Can we go do something? Or like, hey, what are you doing? Because for me, I'll just tell you no. If I got shit I'm doing, I'll be
okay,
like,
good.
I'll be like, yeah, I love you, but like, nah. Or I'll try to set you up with like some situation. But like, if you're like, yo, what are you doing for breakfast? And it's like, I would more often than not, or hey, can you give me a ride here? Hey, can we go get Roki or go get some dinner and bring me back? Like, I'm more often than not the kind of guy who will be down with it. And if I'm not, I'll just be like, I'm not down with it. The problem is most people are passive.
That's the problem. Yeah. And I was like, I hate that kind of passiveness, I want you to tell me no. I want you to say like, even if it's not no, it's like, hey, sorry, I'm busy right now, but I'd love to, reschedule or do something like that. But at the same time, another big factor was like the age you said, like I'm 19 and I'm coming from Boston. Like I'm not in university yet. Like I haven't particularly established myself yet coming into a Olympian national team player who's much older than me, much more experienced. Like my view of you.
We're going to let Olympian slide. I just like the way it sounded, but
like my view of you is like like holy shit, like this is one of the guys. You know what I mean? It's like meeting an NBA star. It's like this is one of the guys. This is where I want to be. Like this is a hero, a role model, like this kind of thing. And I'm like a part of me was like, I don't want to screw this up. You know, I want to be able to show respect while at the same time like being friendly. And so that was a huge thing about my experience here. You know, I was trying to figure out where I fit in. Like, am I the kid who's training here? Am I, you know, the one of the boys on the team? Am I a mix? And so with you, I was, you know, that tied into part of my not speaking to you so much, because I'm like, you know, I want to make the best impression possible because this guy's like, he's sick. Like, let me.
That's tight. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think my issue sometimes is like, this is what I'll say. I've loved having you here because it was such a great reminder for me of like where I started, the excitement you bring, like how stoked you are for like, I'm in fucking Europe, dude. I'm in Poland. This is crazy. Or like, whatever, like whatever it is, more on the court stuff too. Just like eagerness to want to learn and understand things and get better and being like, my dream is to play in college. Like I want to do this, you know, I want to play in the national. I was just like, it's like so refreshing for me because the more you start to do this, especially professionally and on the national team, the more it starts to feel like a job. The more it gets a little competitive, the more your ego is just kind of like, I deserve that. It's like contract stuff. It's less about, I love this and I get to do this.
Yeah.
You know? And so I feel like in some way you've brought some of that energy to me, and I'm super grateful to have someone who like could kind of reignite to me. It's like where I started, where I came from. And now it's rather than just me sitting on my memories that I barely go to of like, what was it like in club tournaments? What was it like, you know, even like the like middle blocker academy stuff that I've made? It's like me putting my mindset in like, remember what it was like when you didn't know shit and you just loved volleyball?
Yeah.
Like, remember what it was like when you went on recruit trips and like, yeah, you saw those guys. Like for me, it was even like McKibbins, or like when I went to USC, or like certain guys that were just like, oh, this guy's the guy at USC.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't want to fuck this really. I want to be cool, you know? Like, I want him to be like, this kid's fucking sick, you know? Like, I wanted that acknowledgement, you know? And also trying to like be yourself along the way. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore. I do know for sure that like, it's been so cool to have a younger energy inside our group even, because for me, it's just been like a great reminder of like, don't forget why you're doing this, you know, like, don't forget that like,
thank you.
I am you, you are me, you know, like, we are each other in that way. And the thing we really share in common is like, we love volleyball. And like now as someone who gets to do it professionally for a living, I do really love it. Even though there's so many days that are like, what am I fucking doing in Poland? You know, like, do I really love this anymore? And I'm working through my own balance of everything. That's why when you talked about, you know, social life, academics, and athletics, I'm like, well, I actually wish that someone didn't say 2 out of 3. I wish someone said, you're going to have to learn how to handle doing all 3, because all 3 are actually equally important. Social life doesn't just mean partying.
Yeah.
You know, there's a healthy aspect to cultivating community outside of volleyball too. Like, what else are you into? Like, I know you're into anime, and in fact we just watched Baki shit. We just watched Baki a couple of episodes. I'm super interested in the anime stuff. I said to you that like, oh, I could get addicted to this, which is why I won't be watching. I'll only watch anime with you ever for the rest of my life. Damn. Probably, because I don't need another thing to get addicted to and spend all my fucking time doing.
Yeah.
But that is pretty sick that you got anime. Do you have like to that point, like, do you have any like community around anime, like friends and shit who are like super hell yeah,
dude, oh my god. So my best friend, he was also into anime, and especially as I've gotten older, you know, I've spent a little less time doing it, but I still love it. So I went to the Boston Anime Convention for 3 years in a row before COVID. For 1 year, I dressed up. The other years, I would wear something small. Like, I was like totally into it, and all my friends were into it, and we were watching it together. And like one of my friends was leaving, so we watched it. You know, we watched
help me with it. It's not Comic-Con, is it? It's different.
It's exactly like that, but for anime.
Okay, and when you go to these anime conventions, what are you doing? What is there to do? Like, what are they like?
Yeah, so a lot of it is just walking around and seeing other people, and because there's people in costumes. There's people who have dressed up in like 20, like literal like 15-foot costumes of like robots or like Megatron or something like that. And then there are like people who make the costume so real they look exactly like the character. And then there are people like me who just kind of like throw something on.
So it's a costume party.
It's mostly costume.
I don't know why I always picture it like a convention where it's like there's booths.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the main part is like seeing people and walking around, but then there's viewing parties for movies that have just come out. There's the art gallery, so people drew fan art.
Oh yeah, that's
and then
cool.
there's also like the I don't know what you call it, like just shops and little stalls where there's
sort of like underground trading going on.
Oh my god, yeah. So there's figurines, there's posters, there's memorabilia, there's stickers, anything you can imagine, mirrors, lights, plants, couches that are anime themed.
All right, what's like the gateway drug for anime? What's the gateway series for anime to like kind of get hooked?
Shoot. That's a great question because it varies for everybody. The thing about anime, it's not like anime is this like fantasy cartoon that's all the same. You know, there's animes that are very serious. There's animes where the style
Anime soap opera.
There's anime soap operas.
No.
There's anime soap operas. There's dramas. There's like love stories. There's tons of fantasy. There's sports anime. There's an anime called Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime.
And can we define what that is? So like, do you know the show Archer?
Yes.
That's not anime, is it?
No.
Then? No.
Anime is just is like animation that comes from Japan.
So in order for something to be anime, it has to come from Japan and
Yes.
be dubbed over, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I mean there's Chinese anime, there's other like anime that comes from different regions, but you'll hear like Chinese anime. Anime is like I think it's the biggest export from Japan.
Wow. That's crazy.
Because they make like a ton of money. So the gateway drug, it depends on what you're into. So a lot of volleyball players have watched Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime.
And I've never watched it ever. Have you? I'm guessing
I've
you've
seen it. Yeah.
I should have watched this, or maybe we'll watch it together at some point. I don't know if it's worth watching or not, but I do see like that was such a big thing, and I'm like the guy in the background, like, why are people talking? Who cares? Like, why was that a big deal then? Haikyuu. Haikyuu.
So it's much more popular amongst people who aren't playing volleyball like as a job. You know, it kind of goes over like it's the exaggerated version of like I don't know, like a high school volleyball. It's this kid who's playing high school volleyball and it's his dream. He's very short, but he jumps super high. So you can think about like a Yuji Nishida. He's basically a little kid like that who has the dream of like, you know, winning the championships or winning or whatever, but he comes from a school where they don't play volleyball, a community of non-volleyball, and then it's his journey to the top, like most sports shows, sports anime are. And it's awesome because it's like that exaggerated feeling, like a lot of things in anime is like, you know, if you were to go punch someone, it's like slow motion and then like conversation and internal thoughts and stuff like that. So like he'll jump up for the spike. He's like, oh, there's a double block. I need to go cross. And then he'll do like a quick cross, but then it'll be up. And then it's like a play that lasts 10, 15 seconds can last an entire 20-minute episode. Because it's like the internal thoughts, the awesomeness, the animation of it too. It's amazing. Listen, I'm
sick, actually.
Dude, I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff. I love it.
I'm not even kidding. As you were saying that, I was like, because I have the bad tendency of thinking also while people talk. But as you were saying that, I was like, dude, I wonder if like it would be cool to make like a show, like an actual volleyball related show. That would be cool. But they did that already.
It would be cool,
with Haikyuu.
Haikyuu. It's okay, don't worry. But that's the thing. It's like I mean, anime can totally get annoying. Like I could see it.
Yeah.
Like especially some anime, like the voice actors, maybe the conversations. It can be slow, it can be fast, it can be whatever. But it's kind of like if you're able to follow along with the story and really get into it, that's when it's good. Like most things.
It's like it's like anything. You just gotta buy into it.
Exactly.
And if you're down with it, you're down with it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
So this show in particular, like they come out with new seasons, like a normal show, and it's cool because it keeps getting better and better because he keeps getting better and better at volleyball, and so some kids can actually learn something from it. There's different systems that they talk about in the show, and the Hinata, the main character, he's progressing his story through volleyball. So some kids literally like look at that as some inspiration.
Jaidin, I don't know if you're working through. I already forgot it again. Haiku.
Damn it.
Haiku.
You can just think like hike and you.
Okay.
Haiku.
I feel like you're the sales rep for Haiku now. I'm like, I'm sold. It sounds fucking tight.
Dude, I'll sell everyone on anime.
That's sick. All right, dude. Well, I just to kind of like slowly wrap things up, I do also really want to know from you, like, so you've been here for 2 months. You leave in next week, 2 weeks?
I leave on Thursday.
This next Thursday.
Okay,
you leave on Thursday.
Today's Sunday.
You leave in a couple days.
I leave in a couple days, yeah.
How does this trip sit in your mind? I want to know, like, what was it like? What do you feel like you learned from watching? Like, you got to come to some games also to see, like, what the highest level looks like. What do you feel like was I thought it would be like this, and not just about the experience, but more just about, like, the level of volleyball in practice, and did it give you hope, like, oh fuck yeah, I got this, were you like, okay, there's a big learning curve, like, what do you think your experience taking away will be?
It's big. It's so big. It encompasses so much, both personal, athletic, social. Like we've talked a little bit about my my first getting here, my being social with you, being social with other people, walking around the market. Like, I've matured in a way that I would say, like, my ego doesn't get in the way. I'm not worried about how people perceive me. I'm not worried about so much. Like, I know that, I will act like me, and if it's not working out, like, I need to recognize that. But still, I should reach out to the people I'm with. I should be friends rather than whatever.
Let's talk just volleyball really quickly.
Yes. So volleyball-wise, watching these games, it was a level that I didn't think it was.
Be honest with me, by the way.
I'm honest, dude.
All right.
I'll get into it. Don't worry. My first reaction watching this live is uncomparable. It's like you guys jump higher, spike faster, serve better than it looks like on TV. You can look on YouTube and then replay it and be like, oh yeah, okay, that was a cool play. I could probably hit cross like that. But to see it in real time, maybe to watch the right side go through a couple plays and the middle go through a couple plays, it was unbelievable to see it for the first time. Because I've gone through like there's like VLA volleyball, and I've seen a little bit of that, and it's good, but again, it just doesn't compare to dudes jumping so high, hitting so hard, running so fast, and working as a team. Like the defense aspect of it, I'm like, how do you possibly get a ball up? And so as for my first time watching, it was amazing. And then as I've progressed, it's actually become a little bit more attainable. Like, I already believe that it was for myself, but even so, the team wasn't comprised of like a million, like everybody was the tip top of the game. There were some players who are still learning, and they're younger players who are just getting into professional volleyball and may have some way to go. There are some players who are maybe at the end of their career or something like that, and then there are the best players who are in the middle and they're just absolutely balling out. And so I think that professional volleyball is unbelievable. Like, playing is a different thing. Watching, it was amazing, but I jumped into scrimmage the other day, and even though it was a little messy, some players were out, I was still like at a loss. I had been here for over a month and a half, and I jumped into scrimmage thinking that, I'm athletic enough, I've seen it enough, this will be cool. But the truth of the game is so much more than it looks.
Yeah, it was also so interesting to get to watch you, like getting to see, he's 19, what does it look like,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's exactly what you'd think. It's like you making some mistakes where it's just like, yeah, he's 19, and then hitting some balls where it's like, yeah, and he's got potential. Like it's that like really interesting combination. And I always think about like, even for me, I left the fucking washing machine on the whole time. I hope it's not in the background of all this. Anyways, I remember like even my first time playing overseas too, just being like, oh, the really big difference is those mistakes happen as you increase your level. This also goes, in my opinion, professionally also, from like Austria to Belgium to Germany to France. Like as you go up a national team, like as you go up higher, those little mistakes just happen so much less. And it reminds me that the difference between being like good and great are these tiny things.
Yeah.
The little awareness plays, the little bits of effort, like decision making. It's like when I was younger and I looked at you and it's like, what do you want to do? You want to fucking bounce the ball, because when you bounce the ball, all the guys are like, Jaidin, what up, dude? I know that gets you going. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
I get those. It's amazing.
Yeah, and we all want that. We all, we
yeah,
love
it's
that feeling.
awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like the difference is like being able to do that, and then now all of a sudden we're in a game, and that's why to me I always find it so interesting where it's like you see guys in hitting lines, it's like, whoa, shit, and then all of a sudden in the game it's like, oh, what you realize is to succeed at this level, it's no longer just bouncing balls, and in fact just you torching a ball happens a couple times.
Yeah,
a lot of the times it's you blasting off the hands, you getting some back end lined high ball that we need you to put away or recycle back into the block. Like that I could imagine. I don't know. I'm interested to know, like, what are the dynamics, like you kind of described, that you saw that you were like, oh, okay, I can use this.
That's absolutely like the biggest takeaway, which was which errors am I making compared to which errors are they making? Like you guys just had when I first got here, Josh had left maybe a couple weeks before, and you were working with a new setter. And so at first I was like, oh, they're making a lot of errors. This is doable. Maybe I can jump in the game. But then as you progress, I see it's more and more like the errors I'm making were like the different types of errors we were making. Maybe there was a ball hit out, but why was it hit out? It was because, going high hands, or maybe you were aiming for the spot and just missed it a little, compared to an error I would make, which was like not setting up really well on defense, or still moving on defense, or something like that. There's like,
or figuring out your broad jump. That was a big one for you.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
I think like how to timing on the ball with your feet.
Another good way to describe it is I made a lot of more personal errors, while you guys made a lot of like, I don't know, maybe it was a good play from the other team, honestly. It could have just been like a really fast ball and your block was a little bit later, but that's just because it was a fast ball, not because, you weren't paying attention. But an error I was making sometimes was just like getting lost in the play.
Yeah, I feel like there's the it's almost like decision-making errors and knowing that was the wrong decision, versus like this is the classic thing we see is like, let's say it's an outside who's, was trained that like you take 3 steps outside the court on a high ball and then you come in, and it's just like, that's just like some old school bullshit. And like now you've taken those 3 steps, and huge surprise, the non-setter set you the ball, 6 feet inside the court, and you can't physically adjust.
Yeah.
And then you did all you could with the ball. And I think that's a big difference, is like learning the technical skills to set yourself up in a position to now get to make the decision. You can, if you put yourself in a great position and can step close to a ball where you can get the ball in the window where you want it, and then you just decided you thought you could bury it between the second and third blocker, like live with that mistake.
Yeah.
Understand the better decision there, versus like you couldn't physically adjust to a ball and then you were absolutely shot committed and chose the absolute wrong decision. Or
that's
something.
another, that's dude, yet another big thing, which was I spent a lot of the first weeks, even month here, I spent it doing all of the technical stuff and figuring out how to transition like in a way that puts me in the best position. But then when I started playing, I realized like it is not so much about the technical stuff, and it is so much about your athletic instinct. Like, am I ready for the ball? Can I get to this ball even if it's bad? Like, okay, now that it is good, am I still able to, follow the steps and stuff like that?
And I remember when you got here, I remember talking to you and being like, oh, this feels like the first time I'm getting like technical help.
Yeah.
I want to know more what you meant. Like what kind of coaching no shit on any coaches you've had. You don't need to say any names, but like what type of coaching do you feel like you received in the past, and how is this different for you?
So I think most of the coaching I've gotten in the past from the beginning, I'd say like this beginning part, it was this like 3-step approach. Okay, you know, you're going to swing block. This is how you do it. Like a shuffle block. This is how you do it. And after that, it was, all right, go play. Go figure it out. Go have a great time. Like defense, like, okay, you may want to move over a little bit, but that's about it. And then for blocking, it was like, you know, you want to go up and press, but it wasn't like keep your arms straight, you know, hands straight. It was a lot more of figuring out what to do, almost what to do with each body part, you know? Like coach was telling me like on defense, when I'm playing line defense, like turn your body into the court a little bit, because think about it. Like if you're digging a ball, you want your body facing inwards a little bit so that even if you don't have control, it's faced that way. And so it's little things like that can progress my game from going like this and having the ball shoot straight out to going like this to maybe having it where the setter can maybe even get a little bit of a touch on that. And so I think my training so far, I wish I had played a little bit more. I wish I had been able to put this more into practice, into these game situations. But previously, it was only game situations, you know? I was able to hit the ball really well when it was wild, but I was hitting it low, or I was hitting it outside my body, or maybe even hurting my shoulder. And so before it was just games, but now it's like the technical stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like it's such a, you know, when you're younger too, it's almost like you want that, not the slim fast pill, but you like, what's the one, you're like constantly like, what about this? And in this situation, what about this? And I feel like it's this really, as I get older and now I'm starting to teach too, it's finding this balance between like, you do need to figure it out on your own. You need to take knowledge and create wisdom out of that for yourself. And you can know all the technical things to do and become this technical robot. But now all of a sudden we put you in a game and as a middle, like you're read blocking. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, you learned all the footwork, but it doesn't mean shit because now they're fast paced and you're moving around.
Yeah.
There's so many other things to calculate. And that's more of like the real world situation. And so I always find this like, it's really interesting. I always think like straight to middle stuff, obviously, but like transition footwork. And you see so many coaches teach land, step, hop,
oh my goodness,
wait, go. And I obviously see that and want to fucking throw up. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I can understand at that level, like, especially when you're really young, like you want some frame of reference. So I guess I'm actually asking you, like, what works for you in terms of being told technically, like, hey, this is a 4-step approach. It should go right, left. Or like, this is like where do you find the balance between game, like realistic situations is a lot more chaotic, but then there's also like, you want to have some of the framework of knowledge of, yeah, you got to learn how to do a 4-step approach. Like, especially now as you progress, what do you like more? Do you like more put me in a situation where volleyball teaches me, or do you like more tell me the thing I need to do and now let me practice it?
That's a very good question. And I may have a better answer this summer after I've had the chance to put now what is now this technical skill into practice. But I'd say I do really like the go play approach. You know, go hit this wild ball, go have a setter who's not consistent, you know, figure out how to play crazy so when it's straightforward, you know, it's an easy time. But I like a mix, you know. Every time I finished a tournament, especially when it was a bad tournament, I would ask my coach, like, you know, what do I need to do? Like, what do I actually need to do? I don't think I need more time hitting the ball. I think I need to know how to hit the ball. Like, why am I getting blocked so many times on this specific ball? But the coaching I had gotten before was like, nah, I don't know. Like, just figure it out at practice, you know? Like, maybe I didn't ask the right question. I don't want to say, you know, it's not my fault, but I'll say that I want to have this kind of knowledge, like, easily accessible.
Undercoached or overcoached?
Under.
You prefer being undercoached?
I prefer being undercoached, but, you know, obviously there is a point where it is undercoached. And now I'm just like, I have good mechanics because I was throwing a baseball, a football, all this kind of stuff. So the arm swing feels natural. But maybe for some kids who don't have a natural arm swing, they need at least a little bit more coaching, like,
technical work,
some technical work. So again, it's a mix, but it's hard. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Let me say this. Let me ask you this. I want to put myself in your shoes when I was younger, and I remember feeling like if I didn't respect my coach as a player, I didn't really care what he had to say. I'm really interested to know from you if you've had a coach in the past who was like maybe just a little overweight or just like never played ball. Like, what was your opinion? Were you just like, oh, he still got things to teach me, or did you have a little bit of like, I don't know what I'm trying to. I'm saying when I was a kid, I was that way. I was just kind of like, fuck is this guy? Like, what the fuck do you know, bro? Like, you never played volleyball. You don't know what it's like to jump and hit as an opposite. Like, how do you manage that?
That is exactly how I feel. I've been fortunate enough to have a club coach for the last 2 years of club who is a current player playing on a VLA team. And so it was good to learn from somebody who at least I perceive them as knowing what they're talking about. But especially in New England, in maybe even just the East Coast in general, there's a lot of coaches who I feel like, they haven't played enough to really, it's a little bit selfish, but it's like, have you played enough to know what you're talking about? Like, yeah, you've read it in a book, but it's the same as me going through that robotic technical practice, but not knowing how to apply it in a game.
Man, this is a gap I want to bridge so badly in my life to really understand, because I also look at a younger version of me like, I wish I wouldn't have counted them out, because when I get older, I'm like, to be a great coach at something, you don't necessarily need to have played professionally. And there is a big difference between VLA and playing, overseas, playing on the national team, finishing in college. Like, I've had coaches who are like, oh, I get it. I played in college and then I went to Sweden for 2 years and played professionally. And I'm like, bitch, you don't get shit. I've been fucking like the best leagues. I've been doing this for 9 years. And I got guys who've been doing this for 15 years. Like that, there's something so heavy and different about that. Like, there's so much more learning you get to do. But when it comes now to translating my own wisdom that for me into trying to help someone, it's like, I actually think there's a lot that coaches who never played can really do in a positive way. I think about how would I have explained that message to a younger version of me? Because in my mind, I was like, if you didn't play, what are we doing? Like, what do you fucking think you're going to teach me?
I get you.
Or they had to really they had to sell me on who they were as a person. Because I've always loved, like, if I had a coach who I was just like, this is just a fucking good guy, then I'm so much more bought into what they're telling me.
Absolutely.
As compared to, like, I've also had coaches who, we won't name any names, but I've also had coaches who like kind of took the step back and kind of like we got this figured out. And I'm like, you never fucking played. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to yell at me for this? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think it's a mix. I feel like most of the time, like majority of the time, those coaches who haven't played have that same attitude. Like, they haven't played and they have very little like humility as a coach. Like, I know the right way. Like, I'm sure what I'm telling you is right. And I found that a lot of the coaches who have played and have the most experience, they're like, this is a way to do it. I think like another big takeaway from watching you guys is that there's a lot of different play styles.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I get here and everybody's hitting the same ball and hitting it the same way. Maybe Moritz is jumping higher or Lipa's hitting it down the line more. Somebody likes it inside, outside, swinging more over the arm. Maybe somebody's a little bit more outside. It's very obvious with the middles too, because you guys are all
different sizes.
Super different. Yeah. You guys are all so different. But again, it's like the people who play the most often, I have found, understand that point more. That there are little bit different styles of playing. There's a different way to do it, and so they're just easier to be with, to deal with, to learn from. But
and I think that's the coolest part is you have to solve your problem. You have to figure out what are the things that Jaidin's really good at and where are the areas that I really struggle so I can become a more well-rounded player.
Yes.
And to your point, I think a lot of times it's like, well, these are the correct arm mechanics. Like I'll never forget Charlie Wade, my coach at Hawaii, was trying to fix. We had this guy named JP Marks, this German dude, who had this like crazy bring his arm super down, like really weird arm swing.
Like a circular arm swing.
Yeah, like super gnarly. And our coach was like, had him up against the wall, like trying to fix his arm swing almost. And it was kind of like, dude, he's also really good. He was really good.
Yeah.
And like could bury balls and like was really good. And there's this point of like, almost let him develop his style, work with his style a little bit. And then you get guys who have the like high elbow. I see a lot of middles who have like high elbow. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to change that. And it's worth getting into like the biomechanics of an arm swing is really interesting, especially to me when it comes to preventing shoulder injury. That's where I find it the most valuable.
That's a good point.
But I agree. It's like everyone has such a different style. Like as a middle, if you're 7 feet tall, like having your hands at the net maybe a little higher could make more sense. Or like if you're like a smaller guy like me, everything has to be super optimized. Who I prioritize as a blocker, where I'm standing, how my hands are split, when to split step, how far, like all those things have to be really calculated because I'm so much smaller and can't get away with just like a one-step shuffle like Shaqy, our other big guy, who can like, you know, take one step and just reach his hands over and, you know, block seam, which you shouldn't do. But when you're that big, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like so different, you know?
Yeah. And that's a huge thing. I think I've had coaches who do that. You know, they focus more on the things we can do as a team and, you know, leave your personal stuff to your personal stuff. But then there's other coaches who are like, I don't know, it feels like they're trying to fix you. And especially like there have been both periods and then they're just over the span of my career. I've had somewhat of an ego when I play. You know,
we all do.
We all do. But like sometimes it gets to the point where it's like there's a coach and I'm like, I'm not listening to you. Like I know what I'm doing, even though I'm like 16, 17. I'm like, yeah, you tell the rest of them, like I've got it figured out.
I felt this way too, even with you in feeling like because there's obviously things that like I wanted to help you with right away. I like of course want to just lend myself in that way to you, especially from a volleyball standpoint, like as much as possible.
Yeah.
But then also didn't want you to feel like, I guess, put me in your shoes. Where do you find the balance between like someone like me being like, hey, work on this, and you also being like, yeah, I fucking know that. Or like, yeah, I got that. Like, because I know it exists, you know? Like, so fill me in. What have I not been seeing?
That's a great point. So with you, I think me and you have very similar.
And you don't have to use me as
yeah,
per se,
I know. I'm just saying,
you know?
but me and you, we think very similarly. Like the couple times we've talked, you're like, I would change this and like I would do that, and I agree with you. And so I think it may be a little different, but it really depends. You know, with a guy like you, it's like I have the utmost respect. Like you're currently playing on the national team. In that stance, I'm like, well, you know, he probably knows more than me, so I'm very willing to listen to him. But if there's like a coach who played D3 volleyball like a little bit and then comes to me like, hey, Jaidin, like your defense needs some work. It's like, yeah, it does. But it's almost like I don't want to hear it from you. So I think, again, there's a way to go about it for each person that's a little different. But it's also kind of a respect thing. You know, I respect you and I respect Coach like unbelievably. So listening to you guys go, I'm like, dude, yeah, totally. But then there have been times with Coach where I'm like, dude, like I don't
want to jump up and catch the ball anymore.
Leave me alone. Yeah, like I like okay, we've gone over this for 2 months. Like, can I go, please? Like, am I free to finally play some volleyball? Yeah. But at the same time, you know, I have to recognize like he knows a lot, and it's worth at least trying it out. You know, because I have the rest of my life to then say, oh, he was totally wrong. Yeah. But right now, you know, I'm learning from Coach. I'm learning from you guys. It's like I want to absorb as much knowledge as I can.
And I'm also just a big fan of like just self-awareness, because I think, like, for example, if a coach is working on you with serving, the thing, and Javier does this sometimes, and it honestly can piss me off, not so much with me, but just in general, like I don't need I don't need feedback every time I serve the ball, even if it's good.
On.
I'm with you, bro.
Yes.
Trust me. I am you. You are me, dude. Okay. And I feel that, especially like, even if it's good, even if I serve you, oh, that's a good, don't just shut the fuck up. where like, and for me, I'm super aware of that when I want to help people. It's like, if I watched you serve 15 balls, I wouldn't say anything, just watching you. If there's a theme that comes up that I think will be useful for you, I'll hopefully present it to you in a way where, hey, I think this would be useful for you. Take it or leave it, you know, like it's your choice. And I feel like I wish coaches presented it. I'm not trying to sound egotistical here, but like, I wish coaches presented it more that way of like, hey, I've taken some time to see your habits. Here's an idea. What do you think of the solution? And I think most of us, it's like, would make sense. It's like, if, I don't know, if you keep hitting the ball into the net, 7 of the balls are into the net. And then we watch and it's like, yeah, you're tossing it so far out in front of you that you can't contact the ball like on your head or like in a position that allows you to hit deep and drive the ball deep anyways. Or if like, you know, for you, sometimes it was like your arm was doing a lot of serving where like you'd make cuts like this and like learning how to put more of your full body's energy and finishing to where you want to go, because it's different than attacking where we need you to cut off angles. This is more about like slowly cutting off angles by like slowly making minute adjustments for long distance range. We shot guns together. We know about long distance range. You know? But I always feel like it's so interesting. I also, it's so funny. There's like 2 components to it, right? For me, it's like even wanting to help you. It's like, oh, I don't want to come to Jaidin and be like, hey, Jaidin, I see this thing that you could work. Because in my shoes, I'm like, Jaidin, I got 1,000 things we could do, bro. I got 1,000 ways to make you better. And it doesn't discredit that you know what you know and you are who you are. And you're in your mind, you're like, yeah, I'm good. And you are. And you will be better, you know? And so it's even weird for me. It's funny to hear that like you have that interaction too, because for me, I'm also like, I would love to say something. And sometimes I can't help it because I feel like I want to help so much, you know, because you're here for such a short time too. And at the same time, it's like, you also want to be, or correct me if I'm wrong, you also want to be looked at as like, you're a fucking man and you're here and you're a volleyball player too. Yeah. And you want to be respected for that. Absolutely. Yeah. It's so interesting because like, I don't respect you at all. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like to you personally, but I just mean like, if some 19-year-old kid comes here and thinks he like knows what's up, in my mind, I'm like, you don't know shit. Exactly. And it makes me laugh because in my head, I'm like, but when I was 19, I knew fucking everything. Like, dude, I'm not kidding. Like, I feel like I've time traveled since you've been here. And it's just reminded me of like, and we're not the same in that, like exactly the same, obviously, but just, it's made me think like, damn, I remember being like 19 and being like, fucking like, okay, yeah, there was certain for sure I listened to coaches that I listened to more, but there was also just this feeling of like, even from them, those amazing players or coaches where I'm like, okay, I got it, bro. Yeah. I think again, you and Javier, it's like I have like the utmost respect for you guys, but there were times like, especially when serving, like I throw the ball up and he's shouting, he's like, oh, what does he say? He's like, hi, like because he wants me to contact high, because a lot of the times I bring my arm down. But even if I have a good serve, he's like screaming at me mid serve, and I'm like, maybe I can use this as like, you know, training for when there are people trying to distract me. But it's like, I'm trying to work on this. Like, I got it. All right. You say that like every 3. All right. I'll give it to you. But saying it like I serve 10 balls in a row and each one he's screaming at me to swing high. I'm like, please, like, you know, just give me one. You know what I think is so interesting is Javier is a great example, because when I first met him, I was like, finally, for the first time in years, I have a coach that I can learn from, a coach I respect, a coach who played at a high level. He's every incredible way I respect him. He is a human being. He's an amazing human being. And then as I worked with him last year, national team, and now also this year, in some way, it's like those little quirks. I'm like, they're so annoying. Or like in the game, he's like wild in the game. Every time you make a mistake, he's like, oh my God, yeah. But then in timeouts, he's not yelling at you. And what I realized is like, it finally, instead of like, you know, when you're young and it's like, those are my parents, or like your age is like, that's John Sparrow. Yeah. What's been so cool for me as I get older is I'm like, no, that's just another person like you, bro. Yeah. That's another person who's got quirks that you don't like. And I probably do some shit that they don't like. And in some way it like humanizes that experience. And I wish that there was a way to get that message across more to kids your age, club kids, coaches, also re-understanding what it was like. And for me, That's hard to do without a reminder in my face. And so when you're here and when I see you and I watch you play, it makes it so much more tangible for me to be like, oh yeah, remember that you didn't want to be told 1,000 different things, and that, hey, maybe if he's really interested in help or asking for advice, maybe he'll come to you, not feeling like, oh, Jaidin, I saw you. There's so many things I want to show you because trust me, I played for
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting. And Javier is the best example, because with Javier, it was like, now that I've been with him long enough, he's got these little quirks that, like, if you didn't know him, it's like, it's so annoying. Serving also, it's like, sometimes I'm like, dude, come on, Javi. Like, I don't need this just like chill. But it's almost like now I'm getting to this point in general in my life also, where I can just accept people for who they are. And it's like, I know what he's really means when he says this, or I know what he's really trying to do. Now it's not my style and I think it's annoying, but like, I love him and I respect him, and I love this part of him that I think is annoying. It's like, in some strange way, you find a way to love those little quirks about people, you know?
I think that's a fantastic point you bring up. And as a young person right now, I think, to speaking to the rest of us, is like, what we need to figure out is the balance between respect and like just pure admiration. I look at you guys and I'm like, holy shit, like, this is like Taylor Averill, this is Javier Weber, like John Sproul, like, this is amazing. But it's understanding that I have the utmost respect for you, as both at a player wise and then, age wise. You guys are older, more experienced, all that kind of stuff. But along with that understanding that you're a real person, you have your own stuff. You're not like some god that's impervious to getting annoyed, right? It's like, even you can get annoyed, even you can have a bad day, miss a serve, that kind of stuff. But for me, I look at you guys and I'm like, I want to do whatever I can to like be on the good side, or to show you respect, or to make sure, I'm acting right because I'm in this presence. I'm here in Poland playing for training with a professional team. Like, this is amazing. But again, as a young person, I want to try to respect you guys as much as possible. But I think it's important to recognize, you're a real person. You want me to reach out to you. You want to be friends. You want to hear some of that advice.
And these 2 months of you being here and now us talking about this finally now was also a reminder for me of like, and that's what I hope this podcast brings, is a little bit of like, just like, this highlights to me that these are conversations that should have happened way earlier. Like, imagine a world where, like, not maybe too much, but like, it's in some way like we're more vulnerable with each other, where you could be like, yo man, like, what up, Taylor? I know we don't know each other that well. I don't want to be that fucking annoying kid, but like, dude, I don't know where to eat. I don't fucking know what's going on here. Like, I'm getting stared at, like something, Yeah. Because instantly when you humanize that, to me, I would have been like, oh, bro, I got you. Because otherwise, to me, it's like, they got some young kid I'm probably going to be forced to hang out with because he's an American guy. He's going to want to hang out. And I was like, okay, I'll take him to lunch and like that kind of thing, And I've loved the time we spent together. Like, you're such a cool kid. But, just like even that early experience being like, hey, man, I've struck something, could have changed the last 2 months. Maybe we would have spent more time together.
Absolutely.
I just think that stuff's so interesting. And so I think about that with coaches and player relationships too, like trying to find ways to humanize a little bit, and not like Jaidin, trust me, I'm a professional. You're going to learn a lot if you stick with me, like I don't, and maybe that's like my fault in some way, but like, I'm always just like, I just see you as like a person, like just like me. We are equals, bro. That's how I see it,
Thank you. Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like, yeah, there's so much I want to say. There's so much advice I'd want to, I'm like, ask me questions. Now your time. I want to tell you. And I think in some way I'm like, it's just it's been a great experience for me to have someone to feel like, oh, now I can actually be humbled by a 19-year-old, which is really cool for me,
For sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate this being recorded too, because now there's other people that can understand this.
Well, we'll see if this makes it up on air.
This is making it up on air, I promise. But it's like, I think part of this experience was me figuring this out, because if I don't have it already, I think the best way to figure it out is the hard way. I think the easy way, obviously for some things it's easy, but struggling at the beginning was important, because it taught me, like, now I know what to do in the future if I am struggling. If I can't find food, what are my options? All right, there's a restaurant nearby. Okay, I have a friend I can call. Okay, I have these resources that aren't just what's given to me. I was given the catering, and like, I'm not just going to not eat that day. So I'm forced to figure out, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for myself? if that's reaching out to you, we went out to lunch a couple times. A lot of those times were when I was like, damn, like I really need something to eat right now. That's not like chicken nuggets and pasta.
You're using me. It's okay, dude. I'll
Absolutely. Oh my God, dude.
All right. Let's wrap this up because also we're getting close to 2 hours. And you guys, if anyone can help me too, when I do in-person podcasts, I record it on my phone and then I upload it. And I upload it to Dropbox. Dude, sometimes it takes like 2 days to upload a file and I have to like just leave my phone hanging there. So this will hopefully learn a lot. If someone's got a better solution, please let me know. Otherwise, to kind of wrap things up, do you have any questions? What is your big takeaway? Like anything else that you just want to, that you're just like, just because now I feel like in some way it's like, this is a closing chapter. At least for me, like every time I finish my overseas experience, to me, it's like a chapter closes. And, we're playoffs now. Probably got another couple weeks here and then the chapter will close. And I always have this feeling of like newness, you're going to go back. I go back home, back to the States.
Yeah.
Like, and I always think it's really important to reflect a little bit on like your emotions here, things you went through and kind of like, okay, what am I going to take and bring with me? And so if there's any way I can offer any like last thoughts or questions you had, I would love to. Otherwise, I would love to know just kind of like, your take home for a lot of this.
Man, I mean, I have like a million small questions, but again, that'd take another 2 hours to answer them all. But my biggest question to you is like, what do you think I need to work on? Like in general, like, you can keep it concise. We won't make a whole conversation, but like, what are my biggest points? Because, I feel athletic. I feel I can swing pretty well. I can block pretty well. I can do a lot of stuff, but maybe I don't do it all the time, whatever. So
yeah, this will be a really long conversation.
Yeah.
No,
dude, I'm happy to work.
I think the fact that you took a gap year is fantastic. I think you have a huge step ahead of a lot of kids your age. The fact that you can be in social situations and manage yourself also, I think, will carry you very far. In some ways, the best part about volleyball to me is like volleyball is also a teacher of life. Volleyball is also the best way to learn to get better at volleyball is play volleyball in situations where you're playing with people who are better than you. Like even being here and getting to see what the highest level can look like is so important. And unlike, like you said, we have a couple kids, even that 16-year-old kid who's here, Hootie is his name.
Yeah.
He's a baller, dude. He's so good. And like he's 16 but he's been watching this on TV since he was a kid. Been going like a couple guys we have on our teams used to be the guys wiping floors at professional games. So they're just seeing it constantly and they're playing in the development. So it's so different in the States, right?
Yeah.
And so I think like watch the game as much as you can, obviously. And now there's Volley World. There's so many different ways to watch high level volleyball, which I think is really important. And look at it. Like, for me, it was watching highlights. Like I would go on YouTube. YouTube was like just becoming a thing basically. And there was like Bruno and Lucas and like, Dante and Jiba and like some of those
you
ballers.
won't believe the 20 most swings of this year or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a Leon Marshall, like 50-inch vertical, like that kind of stuff. But there was no way to like really analyze the game or understand or be like, oh, why did he make that decision? Or, oh, look how he finishes his swing, or look how quick, like, with you, the first thing I noticed is like, oh, your approach is more or less one rhythm where you kind of your start and your finish isn't super different. And if you watch all the best opposites in the world, the best attackers in the world, like TJ DeFalco, not an opposite, but like someone to me, his step closes, boom, it's so quick. Kovacevic, left-handed Serbian outside. He starts at like the 10-foot line and just takes like a step close. And we just played them and he destroyed us in the last two games of the playoffs. But like, so for me, it's a signal that like, oh, your ability to adapt with a step close is super important. And the more elastic you can be, the more time you can make up and use that to your advantage. And so that was like one of the first things. It's like, oh, I would say master the step close. And I'd say this for anyone listening, like master the step close and you'd be surprised what it does for your serving. You'd be surprised what it does for your attacking, putting yourself in a really good position to adjust. And when you're younger, your ability to adjust is even more important, because when you get better, like with Micah, or like you start playing with guys who are really amazing setters, your ability and need to adjust is still really important, but it's just, you don't need it as much as when you're playing high school volleyball and your setter is a fucking the goalie of the soccer team and you're getting balls all over the place and you're just like, I can't hit the ball, and then you're all frustrated, instead of seeing that as such an amazing opportunity to challenge yourself okay, I know every set's going to be different. How can I work on, and for me, with kids I work with too, we separate kind of the step close. I think it's super important in my eyes. So finding a way to separate and isolate that technique and the strength component of that and the speed component and the elasticity, and then using hitting lines, using games to take it as a challenge to be like, how can I make good adjustments on shitty balls? Because if you can get comfortable, and this is my philosophy for volleyball too, it's like if you can get really comfortable in the uncomfortable things, bad sets is a great example, and now you're comfortable adjusting to bad sets, your world just opens up because there is no more bad set. There's just now a unique opportunity, a new challenge to learn how to, and maybe, you know, one of the things I noticed was the Polish league is like so many outsides now are like bad set, goes to attack, but now sets into the block, plays it back, or sets it over, or fast tip, or like, you know, like little cuts off into the block, plays it back. Like so many smart things to do, and kids don't do it because most kids are just A, learning the fundamentals, and B, they just want to fucking hammer the ball. They're willing to take that risk with the opportunity that might present itself to hit that ball straight to the floor, you know? And I totally get that. And I think enjoy that too, for sure. And learn how to bounce a ball. Like I'm also, you know, I'm a component of, I like, it's so important to learn how to bounce the ball. Why? Because when you're bouncing the ball, a lot of times you're cutting angles really sharp and you're being extra fast with your arm because you're trying to bounce the ball. And your ability to anticipate with your arm is another way to adjust, right? It's something that great players do. It's, can you be jumping and also now having to anticipate with your arm to beat a block? Because most of us are used to seeing guy jumps, peak of his jump, now he's attacking. But some of the best players in the world are really good at changing up their timing when they need to. They're on their way up, and now they anticipate really quickly. What does a block do? It's trying a lot of times. No one's just going over the net, please. Like all pin hitters, especially, and middles too, they go up and then they go over because we're more or less timing things. So if you can have an adjustable fast arm and anticipate on the ball is the term we use for it, another door has unlocked for you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's learning from pros, watching the game, playing as much as you can on the beach, like as much opportunity as you can. I believe play in different surfaces, beach, grass, indoor, does great things for your body and also your understanding for the game, right? You talked about defense and angles. That's something you will eventually figure it out if you've been hit now thousands of times with the ball and it keeps going over the net and you're like, all right, something's got to change. Or it's like, you know, having your arms and palms facing up, like little cues make a huge difference. The game will teach you that eventually. But there's so many kids who they just have a club tournament or like they just practice on the weekends and they don't see volleyball for 5 days out of the week and they're like, I don't feel like I'm getting better. It's like, well, what else are you doing to see and touch the game in different ways? And so I think a lot of times kids are specializing. You're going to be an opposite. Work on setting. Work on, you know, please God, work on setting. All right, you need to work on that fast release. No, you're going to get better as a setter for sure. No, but I mean, it's seeing, learning how to pass, learning how to set, learning what it's like to be at the middle, learning to block on the left side and the right side, being comfortable with the uncomfortable will win and will take you far. Because what you have for sure is athleticism. You will develop so much physically in college and also professionally. Like physically, don't even worry about it. Show up to your weight stuff, do whatever. Like you're going to get stronger. You're going to jump higher. You're going to hit harder. Like those things will come. So many kids want it now. It's like it's going to come. So if you can just enjoy the process of playing volleyball and being a well-rounded volleyball player, those are the things that are harder to develop as you get older. You know, it's like you don't want to wait now. Like you're just we see so many players who are like just opposites and they can't play any fucking defense or like middles who can't set balls. And it's like, yeah, you can be a good middle. And I think it's at the end of the day, if that's your role, that's your role. But like, if you're talking about you want to be on the national team, you want to play professionally, you want to play at the highest level, you got to be well-rounded. And that's what you'll notice is all the best players are very well-rounded as volleyball players. And that comes from all the 1,000 different ways you can get better, you know?
That's awesome.
I don't know if that was actually helpful at all, but
that was. I mean, you answered my question and then some. So yes, and you answered maybe some other people's questions.
Well, you know what, dude? I feel like we could talk so much more. I am actually nervous that this will honestly upload and not take me like a week to do it.
Of course.
I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy I got to know you. You really brought some like true youthfulness back to me and really made me like sit back in myself and be like, oh, remember what it was like to be that fucking hyped on volleyball, and just like your future is so bright. You're gonna go to UCLA, like you're gonna do good things. Like the person that you are to me, it's just like I feel so confident in the way you will go, and I'm sure it won't work out the way you think it will, but I'm sure it will work out. That I'm very confident of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man.
It was great, dude.
Always.
And we might have to have you on again too, because
I'm
you're the only 19-year-old kid I know who's playing volleyball, and I'm always interested in the younger generation perspective. It's super helpful for me also. So
I'm happy to be on. You know, halfway through school, all the way through school, at any time. I'm happy to be on.
Now let's watch Velocipaster.
All right.
All right, love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.